Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Coffee, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Brian's Logic, Click OK, Sensual Goat, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in the Flat Earth Debate Discord server, so welcome one and all.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Will you accept? Oh, no, there isn't.
Well, I was expecting, will you accept a flat Earth measurement of an angle, perhaps?
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a distance to the sun.
Yeah, but you can extrapolate that out through heliocentric motion. I mean, what are Kepler and Huygens useful for other than giving you distances based on those scales?
Eric Dubay had a video where he suggested the distance to the sun is 2,039 miles.
Can't get a distance to the sun. He's extrapolated that out with an angle, with several angles actually, but the use of an angle is negated by the way the stars and sun appear to us. Right? You don't get a difference in angle at elevation. And as the sun moves over a different part of the land, that angle will decrease. But it's decreasing in angle towards the horizon. Does that mean it's going to eventually reach a height of 0? If you're using angles, the inference is that when it hits the horizon, it physically hits it because it's at 0. No, you can't utilize an angle inference for the height of any celestial item. One of the base principles we utilize for navigation is the fact that they don't change their angle with altitude.
So the first problem with any claim distance to the sun, if you're going to try and claim that you can measure a distance or think you're going to measure a distance, is you've got to pre-assume that it's something tangible that is in that's in a basically a position in three-dimensional space. You know what I mean? But you can't do that. You don't know what it is to try and measure a distance to it. You don't know what it is, what it's composed of, or how it does what it does.
Does everyone... Sorry, just want to back you up. Does everyone know what tangible means?
Viable?
No. Tangible means you
Physical.
can... No.
Physical touch.
It means you can touch it.
Touch it.
Yep. Means you can touch it. That's what tangible means. Right? The sun is not tangible. We know its position with respect to the ground, and we can measure our angle and derive that positional data off a flat Earth. Let's not forget that. But that doesn't mean we get height from those angles. We can't. And if we could, what would it be useful for? Nothing.
It is physical, though, correct?
One more time, Neil.
It is physical. It's just not tangible.
How do you know it's
Light
physical?
is physical.
Hold on, prove it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Okay.
Okay.
So shadows are physical, are they? Is a shadow physical? Give me the weight of a shadow.
Is the light from a sun
Give me the, hold
physical?
on. Give me the weight of a shadow. You see it, right? It's physical, right? Give me the weight of it. How much electrical charge does a shadow hold?
Then the height is not physical either.
Just breaking up, Neil. This is not a good conversation anymore.
They're not tangible, but they are physical.
It's not a good conversation because you can't hear me telling you that you're breaking up. The sun is not tangible. Now, what we utilize is its ground position. That's useful. We do not need its height. That is not useful. Why would we, or in this case Eric Debay, be asserting height? Well, as a contrapositive assertion that isn't necessary when our opponents say they do have a height, derived from flat plane measurements of angles, inferences of sphericity, further inferences of elliptical orbital motion, and a final inference of Venus having the same derived radial value for its sphericity as Earth's assumed sphericity. That is what you need to give a distance to the sun in heliocentrism. We have no need for this information. We are not asserting it, and we have no need to assert it.
Yeah, can I just say something there?
Wait, anyway. Sorry.
Let's get some order. Adam, then Brian.
I was going to say, you couldn't get a height anyway, because the word altitude in the case of celestial navigation is a special case, which just means an angle to the celestial from the flat, and not a height at all.
Yeah, but the reason they say that is because they can't actually gain an actual height to the celestial bodies. Because all angular heights are only apparent. But the angular height to a mountain, the mountain does have an actual height that you can measure. You can't do that with the celestial
You missed what
body.
Adam said. So Adam's saying that an elevation angle with respect to celestial navigation, right, Adam, is a special type of angle. And it's an angle measurement to the celestial item with respect to a flat plane. It is not the height of the item. That's what he's saying. You're saying, well, you can still take angle measurements to a lighthouse and derive its height. Yes, you can.
No, you missed what I said. No. Point I'm making is, the reason that they claim it's not a height in feet and meters to the celestial body is because they can't measure a height in feet and meters to the celestial body. Now, it's an apparent height. But every angular height is an apparent height. It's not the actual height. The difference being is that you can gain the actual height to a mountain off a flat plane, but you can't do that with a celestial body. It's always only apparent. There's never an actual. That's my point. The reason they say what Adam just said, the reason they claim what Adam just said, is because you can't do within a celestial body what you can do with a mountain.
Okay. I want to drop something.
And just to correct Neil, sorry, just because Neil said something.
I was going to move on anyway.
Yeah, so I'll only be a second. Right? No, light is still physical because light interacts and can affect things. Right? Shadows. What effect does a shadow have? For instance.
And how much does it weigh?
How much does it weigh? But we're talking about the sun. Just because the sun produces, from our point of view, light, and we get light from the sun, does that mean the sun is light?
I don't know what the sun is.
Yeah, that's the problem. So you can't say it's physical, you can't say it's tangible, really, can you?
It might be.
On, Nathan,
I wouldn't argue that it wasn't, though. So this is a sticky wicket if you get to a certain point and you're unaware that you can't defend a positive claim, but you also can't decry it. So I would challenge someone who says it isn't physical. Okay, how do you know it isn't physical? Well, they can't prove that either. The only position you can take is twofold. One, you know where it's above. Okay, that's what you do know. And then beyond that, you have to say, I don't know. That's the only reasonable position to take when it comes to these items. Because, why, obviously, you don't know. Now, you do know where it's above at a given time because we've tracked it. We've written it down and we know the patterns. Now, some of those patterns have actually come to pass because of the very smart mathematicians of the Roman Catholic Church, who gave us a derived heliocentric model from flat Earth elevation angles. Useful for better predicting where those stars may be in a unified system. Not reifiable into the world you actually stand on, but giving us a better understanding within our very grossly simplified calendar, which is all you want as the general public who want to know when, I don't know, Easter's going to be. And that's what these systems have been put in place for. Now, the fact that these mathematical systems have turned into paradigms that people believe in and reify doesn't alter the fact that we have got the origin measurements from a flat plane. They're just angles. They just won't give you height. That's it.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you there on something, right? I think you bring this up a lot concerning the Catholic Church and the Kepler and them, right? No, that's a story we're given, right? That's all that is.
Okay, you want
testimony? Hang on, I have testimony from a lady in her 70s who has been an astrologer for over 50 years, and when she started treating everything like it's flat, right, everything made more sense and everything became easier. Now she has to know astronomy to do, like, astronomy is part of astrology. Right? Everything is easier when you treat it as flat. Astronomers treat everything as flat and stationary, regardless of what nonsense they try and tell you. The vernal equinox, everything is treated as a massive, it's really like the celestials are moving around a massive stationary plane. Right? If it was easier on a globe, then we wouldn't need the massive stationary plane. No, that's nonsense that they're trying to push.
I don't mind putting disclaimers in if you want me to disclaim as we are told or as we are led to believe. I don't mind putting them in because you're absolutely right. I have no way of... What I think verifies this stuff is loose at best, is second-hand at best. In terms of primary source, it's sparse at best. So you're right. I can't really disagree with you, can I?
Well, the book you're referring to that was shared with you by Dr. John Dee, if I remember correctly, that book is written by somebody who just believes the Earth is a globe and doesn't know anything about anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They haven't researched like we've researched. Their research can only go so far because it's based within their own paradigm.
I don't disagree. Again, I can't disagree with you. I've had this. It's just chance, actually. I might have been arguing with you, but for the fact that Adam broke some of this down about a week ago in a conversation that went on to about 2 a.m. But in terms of what we're given and how the history, I've always vaguely understood this because of my own failings when I've done my own research. You know where you draw a dead end and you've got to then square that circle and move on to the next thing without having resolved it. Well, when Adam is sort of explaining that, no, there's been lots of gerrymandering in that regard. The structures of the timelines, the numbering systems of the timelines, all of these things have been subtly altered over time. I wish I'd written it down, on I think it was SciShow, right? One of my kids the eldest watches SciShow, and she gets it via my YouTube channel, so we'll bring it up and stick it in front of it or whatever. So I still get these recommendations. And one of the videos came up, and they described a time period with 2 letters after the time period, which I'd have typically heard of as referred to as BC or before Christ, and there was 2 different letters that I was unfamiliar with ascribed in this video to a time period, and I'm like, I've never heard it reference that. I wish I'd written it down, but I'm thinking, yeah, it only stuck in my mind. It had completely gone over my head, and I'd have paid it no never mind if it wasn't for the fact that I'd had this conversation with Adam previously, and the same applies here with you. You're like, when you appreciate the gerrymandering of the timelines and the distortions that have come throughout history, you go, can I rely on what I'm talking about when I go back beyond 100 years? And even then, the distortions within the 100 years. Often, the baby truthers are out there pointing them out as they happen and getting their YouTube channels removed. You know what I mean? So how can I rely on any of it? Quick shout out to who was it? Sensual Goat. Oh, you Sensual Goat, you're here. Says, do you still need a membership, Neil? I can gift you one if you spam the chat. You're trying to get my goat, Sensual Goat.
I'm trying to get Neil a membership.
Yeah, I told him off the other day because he was in the chat as a moderator, spamming the chat, waiting for a free membership to come his way. I'm like, oh, God. And you're encouraging him. Spam the chat now, moderator. It's like he's supposed to be discouraging people from doing that. He's in there doing it himself. And you're now encouraging him. Anyway, thank you for the support, though.
My
We've got
pleasure.
a video to cover today. It's not as long as we would typically cover, which is good, because we typically take ages over them. And the video is by Survival Dispatch, who are a relatively large YouTuber. But as is always the case, large or small, please let the videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, with a polite comment that alludes to the fact that we have covered their video. Please don't swear. Please don't demean them about whatever it is that we cover today. Just let them know that we've covered them. The idea being that if they were to do a response video, they'd do the same for me. They'd put a link to my video. Sharing the YouTube algorithmic love that we definitely do not receive from YouTube themselves. Let's just say hello to Chocolate. Hello, Chocolate.
Morning.
Morning. So yeah, as you can probably see on the live stream now, the link to this videographer is going by now. So I positively encourage all of you, 72 people watching currently, to actually do click the link and do it while I'm doing this call to action, which will repeat itself multiple times in the time period that you're out there just leaving a quick comment. And just an ampersand or whatever it's called, not ampersand, at symbol, sorry, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, all one word, so they can literally link directly to the channel from that comment. And it's YouTube friendly. That's how they want you to mention other YouTube videographers, in case anyone was unclear. Because a few people I've seen go and they all say at Nathan space Oakley space 1980 sent me. You're like, no. You've got to actually put the at symbol followed by the YouTube channel name, which is Nathan Oakley 1980, all one word. Then it will link back to the channel. Yeah, that's the idea at least. But at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me so that, what they called again, Survival Dispatch, know that we've done a little response and they can hopefully learn something new or recognise our critique or enjoy our praise. As I don't know what we're going to be covering. This is completely new to me. I'm cold. This is a cold response. Who was it that shared this? Was it Mush? It wasn't. It was Liam. Yeah, Essential. Do you want to fill us in on why we're covering this or what it is?
Yeah, sure. So this is two wholesome guys in America. They have a survival channel. And unfortunately for them, they've got a heliocentric pseudoscience priest on, and we're asking questions about how they can use their survival tips in Narnia.
Survival tips in space?
Yes.
Oh, how joyous. Oh, this is going to be a right laugh. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Anybody? Who is that? Go ahead.
Sorry, this is Duncan. Hello, mic check.
Yeah.
This
Hello,
is going to be great.
What did you say? This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully that's bought enough time for a few of my audience. Price of Adam says I've put at Nathan Oakley 1980 all one word. You see how it appears in red? Right, that's because it's YouTube friendly. YouTube like the way you've presented this, right? It's the same as my channel. I don't know if you can see that from the chat. I'm circling it. Yes, you can. Sometimes I've set the OBS to not show my mouse, but in this instance you can. So yeah, that's the format that once you click on that, it'll take you to my channel. I'm not going to do it because I want to cover this video. Anyway, anybody else know this channel? Familiar with them? Unfamiliar with them? Got any comment on it before we start?
Gotta say, man, it's a hell of a hustle. Let me give out survival tips to a place that I've never been to, that no one could ever go to, and you guys could pay me for it. What a hustle, man!
I don't know if he's got any space merchandise that he's selling, so it might not be a hustle. It's just like content, isn't it? But I suppose you're taking people's time and it's being monetized with ads. So I don't know if that's pretty
Now, the
loose
two
chocolate.
guys are wholesome. She's the hustler, the pseudoscientist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know who she is. So she's the moon advocate or space advocate, right? And he's the channel owner.
Rocket scientist.
Rocket scientist
Correct.
and channel owner. Beardy is the survival guy, obviously. Okay. Right, let's get into it then. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to add.
That our audience, people like me, with my intelligence level, is wondering, why haven't somebody in your community challenged these flat Earth people? Why haven't y'all made a movement to say, look, this is it. Here's the gavel. Gavel down. Stop.
Wow, straight off the cuff, what a fantastic question. Yeah, why aren't you just smashing us out of existence? Love. Good question, my friend. I already like this guy. Great question.
Because I want this video to go viral because I know that you're going to be able to
Yeah, you just needed to stop talking, though.
provide the answer for me to tell the audience why the Earth is round and not flat.
Here's my gavel.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it right now.
Gavel is down. Flat earthers are nuts.
Sorry, would that be a grown woman using a personal attack and stereotyping an entire community as being insane, aka, quote, nuts? That's your response?
And maybe poisoning of the well also.
Yeah, poisoning the well fallacy, my dear. By telling me I'm nuts.
And that's her evidence of a sphere.
One more time.
That was her evidence of a sphere Earth.
Yeah, that's your opener. Why haven't you annihilated flat earthers? You're a rocket scientist. Why haven't you destroyed these people so they don't exist anymore? Because they're all nuts. Non sequitur much?
And there you have it. Flat earthers are nuts. But you were speaking earlier about trying.
Yeah, that was his version of, yeah, flat earthers nuts. But seriously.
Like we've known for a long time that the Earth is actually round.
Yeah.
Have you? How did you know that? No, you were just told it. The inference comes from flat earth measurements.
Because if there are flat earthers that are going to be in the comment section, which I imagine they're going to be, they always bring up the laser thing. Like if you...
Do we? We always bring up the laser thing. On the contrary. No, we don't. No, you know, idiots go out and try and prove that Earth's flat when we practically apply flat Earth measurements to our everyday lives. You know, going out and proving something that's already utilised in practical application is not something we would always appeal to. Definitely not. Go on, whoever that was.
Nah, he thinks it's still 2015. That's what it is.
Yeah, she's currently waving away the flat Earth spirits, if you look.
shoot a laser out far enough, it would be on the same plane. If you had the
same plane, not like horizontal plane of reference. Yeah, you will have some YouTubers coming to your channel, some commenters coming to your channel. I'll be sending them.
tennis ball that was full of water and you spun it at the rate that the Earth is spinning and around the sun and our solar system and how fast it's traveling, that the water would all just escape off of the tennis ball. Can you like...
Sorry, we'd need to know why your extrapolation from this concept would need explaining when the concept itself is Keplerian orbital motion, derived from flat Earth, and the plane of reference used for the angles. So, no, we don't need to explain things after the reification of a ball Earth in a sky vacuum based on Keplerian motion. Now, had you have researched the origins of your belief, rather than just saying, we've known forever that we're on a ball. No, you don't know you're on a ball. If you knew where the ball came from, you'd know why it isn't a ball.
And can I point out once again, the very first thing he said was plane, so the very first thing is a flat Earth proof.
Yeah, got to have a flat Earth to make your globe claim.
Have these little examples that they always bring up?
Well, also say...
Or idiot flurfs bring up, not us. We point out the practical application of elevation angles to create the globe if you're going to reference the globe. Where'd you get your globe from? Flat Earth angle measurements to the stars? Yeah, you did, yeah. Did you have some other means of proving your globe beyond the measurements that it's originated in? Because if not, you've got a flat Earth proof on your hands if you're going to pretend that you're standing on the surface of this reified mathematical inference.
Hey, never underestimate the imagination of the human mind.
Okay.
And what does that have to do with anything? You're being asked why you're not annihilating us, love. And your answer to this is to tell us that you can't underestimate how imaginative people are. Okay. There's no imagination needed when you take flat Earth elevation angle measurements. Like Kepler and all the other heliocentrists that created your reified fantasy world used. They all use flat Earth angle measurements. Sorry, did that need any imagination? Am I just imagining those measurements?
It's too complicated for someone.
The globe needs imagination, Nathan. She's projecting because everything they do is actual imagination with no evidence.
I was just going to say that too. Like, for the past 10 years, who's been starting their arguments with, well, just imagine you're on a big ball. It's like, which side was that again? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm confused.
Yeah, they're in imagination fantasy land to exercise their beliefs.
Like us to understand, isn't it?
I think anybody can think up anything and make it real for them.
That's freaking profound. You're a rocket scientist, and you're being asked based on that accreditation why you have not annihilated us. Now we know why, don't you? Because this drivel could be offered by anybody. Your accreditation doesn't help you when you suggest that we're nuts, or that people have got good imagination. Tom, Dick and Harry could have offered that from the street, love. You're being asked the question because you're a rocket scientist. Oxymoron.
Themselves, and they can come up with experiments.
Sorry, what was referred to that was experimental when you talk about laser tests? Are you about to demonstrate your lack of understanding of the scientific method? I'm suspecting yes. She's about to condemn her own understanding of a credited field if she's a rocket, quote, scientist. They can do experiments. He's just talked about firing lasers. I don't think there's going to be any naturally occurring phenomena in that, my love.
To try to justify their thesis.
Justify it, but don't really hold up to...
Oh, so you are referring to the laser tests. Those aren't experiments. And the fact that you're not decrying them as not being what you are accredited in means that you don't know that they're not doing experiments. You are the one who referred to them as such. That's a category error. No, they're parlour tricks. And definitely not practically applied to Earth in any way. Laser tests? Sorry, is somebody utilising this to do something? No, I'm thinking definitely not. Certainly not when they're firing it through little holes. But we do take elevation angles. We do take horizontal planes of reference. We do reference sea level for heights of things. We do utilise Earth as flat and measure it flat. Those aren't experiments either, by the way.
The scientific method. Our world is made up of being able to have an experiment, a hypothesis originally, followed by experiment, repeatability.
And what's that got to do with this subject? Why haven't you annihilated flat earthers? We've got the scientific method. Doesn't really help you when you're talking about the nature of Earth in terms of the aspect of flatness that we measure. That's not science. Where's the phenomena? This has got nothing to do with science. It's a category error.
Proving that something is correct or...
No. It's proving elucidation of cause when you observe natural phenomena. She doesn't know what science is. She just condemned herself. You don't know what science is. True or not? No. Cause and effect. Look it up.
Incorrect. Now, way back when, we don't have to get into the details of it, but let's...
Do you not? That's because you don't know them. Pretender clown. Fraud. Pretending that you're a scientist. Oh, I absolutely will focus on the detail of the scientific method that you just alluded to try and lend credence to your nonsensical assertion that this has anything to do with the subject of flat Earth. How Earth is measured. That'd be maths. Meanwhile, the scientific method is as follows. Step 1, observe natural phenomena. Something occurring in nature that you want to know the cause of. Step 2, formulate a supposition of a presumed cause of that effect. The suppositional cause must be real, must be capable of being varied by you, the researcher, and must be your independent variable in the hypothesis. The dependent variable being the observed phenomena at step 1. Step 3, actualize the hypothesis by way of variation of the suppositional causal influencer. That is to say, you vary that which you assume causes the effect and see if it does or not. If it does, you validate your alternative hypothesis, A causes B, and invalidate your null, zero difference result. A does not cause B, line through it, tick next to alternative. If you do not cause the effect with your suppositional cause of influence, then you validate your zero difference result, aka null hypothesis. A did not cause B. The method is empirical because only one of those two outcomes can be affirmed upon experimentation, that's hypothesis actualization, to validate and elucidate the cause of an effect. You either elucidate the cause, that's prove that it causes the effect, A causes B, or you do not. That is the method of science that offers empiricism when studying nature. She says it's not important because she doesn't know what it is and isn't using it. It can't be used when we talk about an aspect of the ground. That's not a phenomena.
Let's just say Egyptian times.
Okay.
One fella watched the motion of the sun across the sky and watched how the sun fell into a well. And
sorry, he watched how the sun fell into a well? Did I hallucinate her just saying that?
This must be the
No.
abridged version of Aristophanes.
Aristophanes is taking angles perpendicular to a plane of reference. If she's talking about the well at Cyan, that's perpendicular to a flat Earth. It's an elevation angle. So she's talking about a flat Earth angle measurement straight away.
one side of
but
Egypt.
she doesn't understand what that. Sorry.
Go ahead, Brian.
She doesn't understand. She doesn't understand anything about the Eratosthenes demonstration. Like the sun didn't fall into a well. It's nothing to do with it falling into a well. It's just
what is going on? Let's pretend for a moment, Brian. Let's just pretend for a minute that you are a highly skilled and proficient automotive engineer, and you've worked on F1 technology. You're so super skilled in that area, and I invite you on my show because I ask why there are banger races when F1 exists, right? And I ask you why there's banger races when F1 exists. And you give me an answer that describes the crucifixion. And you're like, your answer in regards to why you're not smashing out of existence the lemon races is to talk about something from 2,000 years ago. In this instance, hey, rocket scientists, skilled and proficient in going to outer space that isn't real, it violates the law of nature. Why is it that you haven't obliterated flat earthers? Let's talk about flat earth angles thousands of years ago. Do you think this is what you were there for, love? Did you miss the point in what you were there for? Did you think you needed to talk about flat earth elevation angle measurements in a well in Cyan? Is that what you're there for?
yeah. What it is before I actually get to doing the thing that I'm supposed to be here to do, I'm actually going to prove that the Earth is flat from 2,000 years ago, and then I'm going to do the thing. It's like that's basically what she's doing, isn't it?
No. Before that, Brian, she has to spend a few minutes poisoning the well and category errors.
Poisoning it with the sun falling into it.
This is the magic trick. When we point out how pseudoscience pretender clown frauds like this lady hijack the scientific method, in this case, she's so refined in her hijacking that she has literally said, science, the scientific method. What it is isn't important, but now I've said those words, you all know that the next thing out of my mouth is absolutely true. So let's talk about flat Earth elevation angles a couple of thousand years ago. Because science and the scientific method, which this definitely isn't, it's a flat Earth elevation angle, but science and the scientific method, not important what that is. It's just stealing valor. It's actually fraud.
Down at the south, rode his chariot as fast as he could up to the north side, tracked the time, saw how long, the distance it was,
God,
and
what a long process this took.
the sun fell into the well there, and said, oh.
See, she said it again, sun fell into the well. No, love, you're talking about elevation angle measurements, sticks and shadows and wells, perpendicular to a plane of reference. Go on.
Sorry. She said, rode a chariot as fast as he could. Does she think that he travelled on a chariot 500 miles from Siam to Alexandria?
No, he used a pager. Or was it a fax machine? They did it a year later. She just doesn't know her own stupid story. The story is...
They lit the fires like in Lord of the Rings.
They did smoke signals. No, they did not. They did it at two different exact same time periods, 1 year apart at different locations. But she, in her stupid mind, thinks they got a flipping taxi. What, beat the sun? She just doesn't know the story herself.
Clarkson did it.
A taxi. One of the London taxis with a geezer driving.
That means the Earth has a curvature.
What? The sun fell into the well, therefore Earth's curved. You demented dingbat. You didn't even link it together in a non sequitur or fallacy. You just made a nonsensical statement that makes no sense and has no coherency, even fallacious coherency. Sorry, the sun fell into the well, therefore Earth's curved is what she's actually just said.
Yep, that's the point.
But you want to get yourself checked out, love? Because you're nuts. That made no coherent sense to anybody. Now, I know the story. Yeah, I understand how flat Earth elevation angle measurements won't be proving the curved surface when you're taking angles down a well or with a stick. They're elevation angles off a flat Earth. Now, the fact that they're 1 year apart and she doesn't understand the story, thinks he's got on a little chariot of fire and raced the sun, is just idiotic. But what she actually said was, the sun's down the well, therefore Earth's curved. That's what she's actually presented. What dingbat.
So he is able to calculate.
Well, sorry. When you say Eric Dawson's got a cab, I mean, that sums it up. I mean, if this was, so I didn't hear the start of who she was or what this is about because I was talking to someone. But she's obviously supposed to be some class of an expert. And she more or less stated that Eric Dawson's got a yellow cab. Do you know what I mean? Alexandria.
Uber.
He got a lift.
Yeah, lift off his friend.
No, LYFT. Oh, press the wrong button. Making me laugh, Brian.
How often do you get to sit?
I don't think it's in the world.
If you had the tennis ball that was full of water and you... And there you have it. Flat earthers are nuts. But you were speaking earlier, they're going to be at the rate that the Earth is spinning and around the sun. Bring up.
We'll also say, never underestimate. Justify it, but don't really hold up to the hypothesis original. Right. Way back when, we don't have to get into the details of it, but let's just say Egyptian times.
Yeah, I did cover
one
them,
fella rode his chariot
method
as fast as he could up to the north side, tracked the time, saw how long, the distance it was,
God,
and
what
how
a long process this
how
took.
the sun fell into the well there, and said, "Oh, that means the Earth has a curvature."
Of course, obvious. Based on your description, I follow along perfectly.
So he is able to calculate the whole entire
Based on
circumference
science.
of the Earth by observation that was completely repeatable time after time.
You see, it would almost seem like observation that is repeatable when she describes going as fast as he can to a different location and checking his wristwatch. Yeah, love. Okay, fine. Yeah, you don't understand your own story, but you've now made it seem, because you're a fraud, like that was an adherence to the scientific method. They made an observation and it was repeatable. Well, if that was the scientific method, if I close my eyes and open them again, is that the satisfaction of the method? It was an observation and I blinked. I repeated it. You utter clown. But she knows she's a fraud, doesn't she? Because she made it clear that it wasn't important what the scientific method was, to then allude to having repeated observation fulfill the method. You're just a scammer. Yeah, stealing valor from the method that you haven't fulfilled. By the way, is this rocket scientist stuff that you're disseminating to this gentleman when you tell him about the method of science that isn't your actual field from a couple of thousand years ago with flat Earth elevation angle measurements that aren't science, actually adhering to the scientific method because you in some batshit crazy made a non sequitur about that meaning Earth being curved without describing why or how? 103 people watching. Please share the show.
I know. I think actually you're actually attacking her a bit too hard. She's obviously an idiot, right? Because what she's actually said was, if you observe the sun twice in one day, it's a globe.
And it falls down.
So
And
you see the
no,
sun
no,
twice
you missed the
today,
fundamental
it's a
part of
globe.
it falling down a well.
Well, you may not have a well for it to fall into, but if you observe it twice, that's all you need to do. Globe proven.
Time after time, there was no weird explanation of, well, this time it didn't work because of that, or there's this interfering, confounding object, or this kind of thing in the atmosphere.
Right, Atmo, what now? Air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, my darling. That's...
You crazy bat.
What are you talking about? So do you have sphere-shaped farts come out of you, my darling? Or do they disperse into the area of volume that they have available to them? I'm pretty sure your farts disperse like everybody else. Maybe you think you've got sphere-shaped farts. Gases don't do that. You don't have sphere-shaped air. Atmo, that's air. Sphere, that's a shape. Gases fill whatever volume they have available to them, regardless of its shape. They'll take the shape of the container because that's the restriction, the thing that they'll be pressing on to form pressure. You think you have an oxymoronic sphere-shaped atmo? No. Prior to that word, what you actually had to offer was a string of stuttery waffle that made absolutely no sense to anybody. Meaningless drivel.
Whatever
it was very meaningful, because what she was doing was projecting her mitigation, because that's what she was doing.
Oh,
saying,
yeah?
Oh, they just come up with this, and they just say that. Oh, this didn't work. That's what you guys do, not us. Sorry, lady.
I beg to differ. Rewound 10 seconds. You make some coherent sense out of this 10 seconds of statements from her.
Time it didn't work because of that, or there's this
Time it didn't work because of that.
Confounding object. Or...
Because of compounding objects. Time it didn't work because of that. Compounding objects. Do you want to just rethink your position there, Chocolate? That made absolutely no sense, did it? Let's listen on.
Or this kind of
What
thing in the atmosphere.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What she's trying to say is that every time they measured an elevation angle, you know what I mean, it worked every time. And that is a science experiment repeated every time.
You got that from this.
A weird explanation of, well, this time it didn't work because of that, or there's this interfering, confounding object, or this kind of thing in the atmosphere.
You got that from that, did you, Brian? Well, you're a better man than I.
Whatever kind of business you might want to say could interfere with it, it's repeatable time after time.
That was pure gibberish. Pure gibberish. Wasn't it?
So we've known.
Yeah, look.
That's the whole point. The point is it's supposed to be gibberish, because like she's saying, oh, they come up with this and come up with that. That's what I hear, right? I could be wrong, but my opinion is that's what I hear. I hear her coming up with mitigation and putting that on us.
Yeah, this is like my nan trying to defend heliocentrism.
Thousands and thousands of years that the Earth is round.
Thousands.
The only sentence that had any coherency was a baseless assertion based on flat Earth measurements that she's exampled to this point. Okay. Sorry, your baseless assertion was back with flat Earth elevation angles that you described as sun falling in a well?
Thousands of years we've known the Earth is round.
You've never known.
Dr. Jackie, thank you so much for coming to our event and bushcrafting with us. And we've even
got it.
Are you serious? That got a round of applause. Oh, well done, love. I mean, I'm so much clearer on the rocket science that you were brought to tell us how you obliterated flat earthers with. I'm just so glad you came.
I don't know about you, but I am ready to go to Mars. I'm prepped and ready after that.
Is there any more to this video, Liam?
Well, he talks about possibilities on Mars at the 6-minute mark. It's up to you. It's a bit of waffle. It's a bit of fun. Whether it's up to you or not.
A small test case, a little Martian greenhouse that's automated that you can send on a bigger spacecraft.
Let me get it straight. You're suggesting that you send a container to Mars so that you can generate warmth by way of the greenhouse effect that would require containment to achieve it. Talk about the rhetoric pissing down your back and telling you it's raining. We're going to need to take containers to this light in the sky. Why? So we can achieve the greenhouse effect. Oh, right, yeah, of course. So we can grow vegetables and stuff. How does Earth achieve heat? Maybe Brian would have some words to say on this.
Well, you can't have temperature without containment, because for temperature, you need air at pressure for the majority of temperature. You could have radiative heat, but you couldn't have a radiative heat buildup. You could have conductive heat, but there'd be nothing for it to conduct to. Because nothing that exists, there wouldn't be any gas. So for temperature, as we experience it in the world, you need a container. There's no way around that.
But why don't they just ship up a load of gravity? Send the bending space-time up to Mars, right?
Ship up a load of gravity. Well, pack it into a container.
No, she appreciates that in order to have a greenhouse effect, you need a frigging greenhouse. Yeah, Earth doesn't have that, though, does it, in your heliocentric sky vacuum world of gas pressure next to a vacuum? Not dissipating in line with entropic dispersion laws? That would be entropy? Yeah, you're saying you need to send greenhouses to a place that, maintains atmospheric pressure to a very small degree that will allow parachutes to open, but it has absolutely no containment. You can freely enter and leave via a rocket that's carrying a greenhouse. Yeah, you're pissing in the world's face with this nonsense.
Okay. We call it a test bed in the NASA world.
Y'all
in the
writing this down?
NASA parlance. And take some of that Martian soil, put it into the test bed Martian greenhouse.
So the soil on the light in the sky, isn't soil typically on the ground? Isn't that normally where we get soil from? This batshit insane woman seems to think that we go to the sky to get soil. Is that where we normally get soil from? How many of you on the panel have ever got soil from the sky?
I generally don't get soil from lights.
No.
Put some LED light on it, grow some plants, and start to see what we get, how it works, what the stresses are.
I vote for potatoes.
Potatoes,
yes.
I think we understand potatoes. I think we've seen the movie The Martian. Great example. Growing potatoes.
I have so many questions.
Potatoes worked really well. So I think we can then do that, but now we have, some people don't like it, to eat it, genetically modified organisms, okay, food and such. But I think we can use some of that new technology they call CRISPR technology to gene splice this and that, and make some plants that will help us to make plants that create more compounds that'll help us terraform Mars.
Terraform? What, like create a breathable atmosphere under containment? That sort of terraforming. How did Earth become terraformed? How did we manage to achieve gas pressure here on Earth? What with this being in a sky vacuum? Like, just walk us through it. You know, the first gas particle gets created on the ground, departs the surface in a given vector. How does that develop pressure? Like, so that we can consider this process terraforming. Yeah? You want to explain that to us? Because I'm pretty certain that once that gas particle departs the ground that it's been created on, it's going to sod off into the sky vacuum that you think the sky is and never return. In other words, in your paradigm of a heliocentric ball Earth in a sky vacuum, we'd have never developed gas pressure to grow anything or survive. Ever.
Slow-mo moon buggy in the chat says sky potatoes. I think that's very funny.
This is so
And
cool.
make it happen more sooner
Speaking to the
than
microphone.
it might have if we just went with everyday stuff.
So we briefly were talking about this earlier, and yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with doing that kind of stuff from Mars. Question is, could we take?
Oh, well, that's good to know. You agree. All right. Maybe you can explain to us how we would achieve gas pressure.
If it started raining chips, would Ireland be at peace, Brian?
That's racist.
Take something like a conifer tree that creates tons and tons of oxygen out of carbon dioxide.
Yeah. So it's creating this carbon dioxide. With this carbon dioxide, it's creating a load of oxygen at ground level. Okay. How do you keep it under containment to form pressure? You're going to need a container for that, right? Earth doesn't have that in a sky vacuum world where you can travel to this light to get soil.
And utilize it as, instead of having a machine that processes oxygen, letting the conifer, I think that's what you're saying, kind of the goal, mid-goal is a self-sustainable
I don't think we're
environment.
anywhere near her level, and I think anything that we ask is probably...
Yeah, go ahead, whoever that is.
Sorry, it's just Brian.
Not just... Hold on. Not just Brian. The almighty Brian. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. The almighty Brian. This one is so entrenched in her line of, pardon the language, bullshit, right? That if you brought her into the fantasy of McDonald's opening a chain on Mars, that they could sell sky fries, right, with the potatoes that they will grow through terraforming and greenhousing. And she'd go, yeah. She would go, yeah. She'd absolutely agree with you right there and then. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah. That's what she is, such a fraud, because she would agree with that.
She's like the female version of Neil Smoking the Grass Tyson. That's what I hear.
You can string a proper sentence together.
Probably not.
Yeah, she's projecting later on.
Go again?
She was projecting later on because she accused us of being imaginatives when she's enabling their imagination of what's possible in Narnia.
Yep, absolutely correct.
But what I'm asking is dumb. I know that. I'm interested in what her thoughts are on it.
Well, it's a really good idea, and I don't think it's in the world of impossibility. Okay, I'm a possibility thinker. It's like, what might we be able to do? What is the logical sequence, A through B?
What might we be able to do? I mean, maybe you could do some Imagineering. Maybe you could fantasize about the possibilities. Pure projection. Oh my god. Oh, it reeks, doesn't it? Oh, it reeks.
B through C, all the way up to Z, that we can do that all makes sense. Not
so you're building all your protocols and SOPs, and it's all based off of reason.
I'm all about
for your decision tree.
Yes, process-based.
Did you say protocols and SOBs? Sons of bitches.
Engineering, flow diagrams, standard operating procedures, how we make things work in a very logical, step-by-step sequence. So I think
He's
that the
got
people
SOBs and SOPs.
Yeah, I did hear him.
There's a lot of people doing biohacking. I'm not one of them, but I know there's biohacking labs doing CRISPR technology. That's a certain that's a certain kind of genetic engineering.
Wow.
And I think the conifer tree is a really good idea.
Wow, I agree. Conifer tree is a great idea. Oh, this is great.
I'll be sure to tell the creator when I meet him. The conifer tree, that was a great idea, boss. Well done.
Yeah, spot on with that one. I always said those conifers were awesome. You the man. No, you the man. You conifers.
Icing, maybe,
Or produces fruit.
or genes, this and that, or even just trying it out naturally in one of these test beds. We'll call them test beds on Mars.
Naturally, on a test bed, wouldn't that be synthetically? What the hell? Naturally would be occurring in nature. What's that you say? Doing it on a man-made bed that you've got control of? Naturally. Okay. Yeah, you run those natural synthetic tests for the married bachelors and the little bit pregnant women.
Starting to get things used to the Martian environment. Like a little bit in here, a little bit there, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that.
I asked for one reason. If we're going to be bushcrafting on Mars, I got to have fat wood.
And we need a pine species. This is all super interesting and everything. And I think the thing that our audience, people like me, with my intelligence level, is wondering, why haven't somebody in your community...
Is that where we got to prior? Yeah, it is. 9 minutes 30. Okay, so we've covered all of it now. I don't know why we covered it in that order, but that's fine. Brilliant. I should do another call to action. I've lost track because I was laughing so hard. Please let the videographer know, and no disrespect to them, right? I'm sure they've got a lovely channel. All of our critiques are aimed at her as opposed to them. Like I say, I'm sure they've got some great survival tips, just not for Mars. There is no soil in the sky. But please let them know, at Nathan Oakley 1980, in spite of them being a considerably bigger channel than I, everybody loves getting more comments, everybody loves more viewer interaction, everybody loves people coming and watching their content. So they will still appreciate you going and leaving them a comment and just letting them know that we've critiqued their video. I'm sure they'll be potentially more responsive as we've not critiqued them. It's just her, right? Now, maybe they'll take offence at the fact that they were nodding along while we're criticising her. But, they're behind a camera. It's, I'll give them every bit of leverage that they would want in refutation of any perceived ill will towards them, because there's none, is there? Anybody feel any, injustice was to be pointed out from the actual videographers here? Because I don't.
Well, kind of, because they actually put that on their channel. They thought it was a good idea. It's absolutely embarrassing. There's no evidence of any claims. You can't prep for imagination land. It's absolutely embarrassing video all the way around. I can't believe they published it.
I can't fault them for being normies, can I? They're just normies. They don't know any of this is wrong to be embarrassed by how stupid what she said was.
Yeah, I suppose that's true. But
go on, Duncan.
No, I suppose that's true. I mean, that's fair enough. I don't know. I seem to somewhat disagree in my brain still, because I can't articulate what I'm thinking, I guess, right now.
I think I get what you're saying. They're the conduit
for what you believe, Duncan.
They're saying they're the conduit for the nonsense waffle that this woman presented. So as the conduit, they're responsible to a degree. I get what you're saying.
Listen.
Right.
They made a decision. Sorry.
No, yeah, they're the conduit for what they're saying. So go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
Don't let Brian bully you.
Well, I'll bully everybody real quick and say I think it's cool because I'm sure that's a question a lot of heliocentrists have, right? Why hasn't one of you guys came out and just crushed them, and we could just put an end to it? And look at the response that she got to it. Look at the response she gave. It was garbage. You know what I mean?
You don't have to raise your hand, Sensual. I know Chocolate took your turn. Go ahead. Thanks, Chocolate.
So I just want to say, would you mind going to the 10:10 mark just before we round out? It was just, we kind of glossed over it. It was a bit where he starts saying what flat earthers typically say, and she straight away starts literally halfway dismissing the flat earth spirits away.
Okay, no, you mentioned this in the pre-show, and it did pique my interest, and you subtly mentioned it, but I did brush past it. Okay.
Like we've known for a long time that the Earth is actually round.
Yes.
Because if there are flat earthers that are going to be in the comment section, which I imagine they're going to be, they always bring up the laser thing. Like if you could shoot a laser out far enough, it would be on the same plane. If you had the tennis ball that was full of water and you spun it at the rate that the Earth is spinning and around the sun and our solar system.
While he's going through some of this flat earth rhetoric, as poor as it is, she's putting her hand up with the stop, stop, stop symbol, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just beautiful to see. I'm sure the community would appreciate that.
Indeedy. Yeah, it's all very painful. They don't want to hear it. And that hand gesture says it all. Stop, is what she's saying to him. Stop telling me about what flat earthers say. Don't want to hear it.
Her days are numbered, and she just doesn't want to accept that.
Yeah, it was a good video, though. It was a good laugh.
Yeah, but that's all right. There was another one that we were going to cover. I don't know if that would have been better or worse, but you've decided that one's more appropriate for Quantum Eraser. And as it's Thursday, tomorrow's Politics Server Day. So tomorrow's live stream will be taking place from the Politics Discord server, where we will be guests and have been for quite some time now. To, I know, throw our net wider, offer ourselves out to a wider public audience that we have no control over, which is good in a way and bad in a way. Hopefully they've managed to find themselves a moderator for that room so it can be a little bit more slick. Not that it's massively detrimental when it's run with, just attentive moderators trying to keep charge of a whole group of people, but it is better when it's on stage. But either way, tomorrow we'll be in politics. Hopefully it'll be as good as it always is. So check that out tomorrow.
Look forward to it.
Anything else before we round out? Any other comments on that video? Hopefully a few of you will let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me.
Well, I'd say that she was invited on, and she was asked specific questions, wasn't she?
Who?
Concerning flat Earth.
Who?
That lady.
What lady?
The lady who was just on that video.
You're
Crazy
suggesting
Granny.
that people know her and have invited her? What?
Well, she was in. I don't know what's going on there. But she's on someone's video, the videographer's video, yeah?
There's some survival channel.
Right. Well, who are you talking about? The videographer?
Yeah,
Who are they then?
the survival channel videographers.
And they're not the people speaking to her.
Yes, they are.
Right. And they're asking her about flat Earth and what she's going to do about it, kind of stuff. Or what
Yes.
she's done on about it.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, well, I suppose can you really point the finger at them? It's a good question. Why hasn't she done anything about it? I know the answer to that.
Oh, I know the answer. Because the sun fell in the well.
She can't.
And the sun fell into the well.
Yeah, therefore Earth is a sphere. Thousands of years and science and stuff. And things. Makes perfect sense,
And
Brian. Weren't you
potatoes in the
listening?
sky.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said, and potatoes in the sky.
Less Irish bashing on that racist note. I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, gave out free memberships, hit me up on Ko-Fi and PayPal and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. Why isn't that working?